How Do the Stars Twinkle by Baconkatz. With 4 thumbs up, 3 thumbs down, and 5 comments, the only tag for the story is sad. Luna stopped putting up the stars and is sinking into a deep depression. Celestia is worried about her and comes up with a idea so crazy it might just work. The ponies that star in the story are Princess Celestia, Princess Luna, original characters, and the main 6. A Starless Night with 361 words. The moon slowly crawled across the vast openness of the night sky. Not a single star could be seen. Luna dipped her head down as her duty as Princess of the Moon ended, and was soon engulfed by her own sorrow. To put it simply, she was miserable and lonely. Even after her Nightmare Night appearance, she was still feared and shunned by many ponies. She wanted to have some pony to talk to, or a pet, or something other than Oliver. Oliver, a best pet. What is wrong with you? She quietly glared at the rock with 2 seeds attached to its face to represent eyes, and a robin mare hat with a yellow feather on the top. Great present, Tia. What? She sighed, laying down on the soft bed of moss in her special garden. To many, it was a horrible garden that was underkept and overrun with many types of mosses and vines. Moss ain't that soft, actually. It's kind of gross. But they never saw the true wonders of her garden. Beneath the thick layers of dense vines and moss was a clearing. It had a plethora of flowers, fruit trees, and a small crystal-clear pool of water that glimmered a pale silver in the moonlight. You don't know how to spell depressed, but you can spell plethora. She sighed again, rolling onto her back so she could look at the starless night. The starless night she allowed. The starless night she made. She was kind of lazy, considering it was starless. She rolled back onto her belly, staring into her reflection in the pool of water. She allowed a single tear to drip down her face, and it landed in the pond, creating a small ripple effect that blurred Luna's image. She hated herself and what she was turning into. A sad, pathetic mare with a horrible excuse to be sad. She hated herself more when she stopped adding the stars. She couldn't make herself do it. It hurt to put up the stars, and not to. And no pony has complained about And no pony has complained about the lack of stars, for now. She just laid there in the moss under the starless sky, wondering how it all came to this. Quality. Just 10 out of 10. Chapter 2. A Sister's Fear. Celestia stood out on her balcony, enjoying the calmness of night. A gentle breeze whisked around her elegant form, snapping at the golden curtains. She looked up at the dark abyss of the night. Not a single star was hanging in the sky. Celestia frowned at the sight. It has been a full month since she has seen the stars. She's tried to confront her sister about it, and every single time she flew away from her in a powerful display of her enormous wings. She has enormous wings as well. Just be like, hey, get back here. Celestia knew Luna was very lonely and didn't like Oliver very much. Are you projecting, sir? She sighed as she slowly trotted into her living. I'm so inept. She sighed as she slowly trotted into her room, using her pink-colored magic to close the balcony door behind her. Bitch! Celestia's magic is gold! Are you fucking stupid? She settled into her large plush cushion at that cuisine? I'm hungry now. That served as a reading spot. She levitated a book titled Advanced Biological Stimulation and Mutations over to her. The leather cover had a thick layer of dust on it. She gently blew on the cover and opened it to the bookmarked page and continued reading. She flipped the page and paused. Her eyes flicked over the title a few more times before finishing the chapter. Celestia slammed the book shut and practically, that's how you would pronounce it, even though it's spelled wrong, danced around the room. She found a solution for Luna's problem, and she couldn't believe if she didn't think of it before. It was so simple. She started levitating objects around her room in search of items she would need. Soon, Luna's day of loneliness would end. This fucking author's note. I know I still can't spell good. Chapter 3. The Smallest Star. Luna slowly walked through the large hallways of the castle, her hooves barely making a noise as she made her way to her room. She used her shoulder to push open the door. Even though she was capable of magic, she preferred to feel the metal on her shoulder. It was calming in a way, to Luna at least. She kicked the door closed, nearly jumping at the loud noise it made when it slammed into the frame. She slowly made her way to her bed, kicking off her sandals as she trotted along. Aren't they like little hoof shoes? Not sandals? Then, using her dark blue magic, levitated her crown and chestplate, and laid them on her nightstand next to a pale purple chest with a faded copper lock. Luna looked at the chest before levitating it over, as she laid down onto her bed, dropping the chest in front of her. She shifted around to get comfy. She settled in with a nest of quilts and pillows that she instantly snugged into. Luna prodded the lock with the tip of her horn, and small click echoed around the sparsely decorated room. She nougated the box open and stared in wonder at its contents. Stars floated around the chest, harmlessly bumping into each other, then floating to a new direction. They were beautiful. Her eyes instantly found a star that was hidden in the corner of the chest.
"Come, little one,"
she crooned.
"Meet your family."
The tiniest star then floated out of the chest and landed on Luna's snout and nuzzled her. Wait a minute. And nuzzled her. Luna was taken aback. It's been almost a whole year since she's been nuzzled. The tiny star was a pale blue and was very warm to the touch. A welcomed feeling on a windy night.
"Luna."
I'm such a dick. A regal voice called out from the other side of the door, accompanied by a series of knocks. Luna gently nuzzled the star back into the chest, closed the lid before quickly levitating it back to the nightstand, while at the same time opening the door with her magic. Celestia stood there. A few items out of Luna's sightline floated behind Celestia.
"Dearest sister,
Celestia started.
may I come in?"
She asked. In response, Luna opened the doors wider, allowing her to come in.
"What brings you here at this hour, dear?"
Luna questions, trying to peek around her sister's large form to see what she brought. Celestia smiled at her younger sister for a brief second.
"Luna,
She said, putting on her best poker face.
would you like to be a mom?"
What? Would you like to be a mom? That's... Shit, buy her dinner first, at least. Chapter 4. Wait. Yeah, Chapter 4. Magic. Luna was shocked.
"What do you mean?"
She asked carefully, unsure where Celestia was going with this. Celestia could feel her sister's uncertainty. Uncertainty.
"Magically, not the traditional way, silly. Unless you want to."
She teased. She levitated. Alright. Her book over to Luna, who grasped it in her own magic, and instantly found the chapter Celestia was talking about, then raised a questioning eyebrow.
"What does Tuesday and A for most and two more of opposing gender mean?"
Celestia paused. She herself didn't know the answer and was also uncertain about that piece of information.
"To be honest with you, I have no idea,"
She said.
But that wouldn't really matter if you could have your own food, would it?
She questioned as Luna was pacing around Tia, a habit she picked from Twilight after her Nightmare Moon Day fiasco. Luna loved foals, that was for certain, and having one of her blood would be the best thing ever. But if she did get a foal, she would have to take maternity leave. Meaning she would have to leave Tia with all of her work. You live in the fucking castle. You're like 10 steps away from just chilling the fuck out. Someone knocking on my door? Shit. No, it was my neighbors. Let's see, where did I leave off? Yeah. Granted, if she would get some from outside raising the moon. What? But she did that for 1,000 years. She can handle a few more months. She stopped pacing and arched her back, trying to get several knots out. She made a quick mental note to see Fluttershy. She was truly a great chiropractor. What? Does that happen? I haven't seen the show since season 1. Luna gave one last thought who would be the mare and stallion she would choose. She was thinking Fluttershy or Applejack. As for stallion, Big Mac may be, most likely Fluttershy and Big Mac. Wait a minute.
How do we know what type of pony I have?
Celestia pulled up the page from a chart. Oh, wait, no. I'm stupid.
Tia, how will we know what type of pony I'll have?
Celestia pulled up the page from a chart in her book.
Most likely one of the main three. The chances of it being alicorn are still varied in many ways. So who knows? You might be lucky.
Celestia said, putting away the chart in its rightful place.
Tia,
Luna started.
I want to be a mom, and I have chosen the other two, Fluttershy and Big Baconkatz,
She said. Celestia smiled.
I thought you would choose them.
She said, pulling 2 beakers out. One had 3 pink butterflies on it, the other a green apple cut in half. That's some creepy bullshit. You just went to their house, you fucking took their jizz, and it has their marks on them? Whatever.
Luna, you do know that it will tingle a little, right?
Celestia said. Luna nodded, Celestia smiled, and set up the item, which were scented candles and the beakers. Rape-scented candles. Celestia's horn glowed, her eye white with energy, and she opened her wings, flying up a good 5 feet before a beam of pure white light overtook Luna's systems. Why is that funny? She could feel the magic flowing through her, and it was very tingly through the light. She saw the chest lid move. The tiny blue star floated out of the lid and right to Luna. It stopped and nuzzled her before floating to her chest and into it. Is this like that Star Trek episode where the Star Trek Next Generation, where there's that white thing and it goes in that lady and she gets pregnant and it ages very fast? Is that this? Because I didn't really like that episode. She could feel its warmth spreading through her entire being. So warm, she could feel herself dozing off. She fought to stay awake. So warm. She'd feel asleep. I'm playing Metal Gear now? I feel asleep. Lulled into it by the warmth of the tiny star. Celestia feel her sister body go limp, but also feel her deep breathing. So she kept going. A small, pale blue light gently floated out and landed on the thick carpet, then instantly turned into a pile of blankets with the stars and... What? What? I gotta take a break. Alright, Then instantly turned into a pile of blankets with the stars and moon on it. What the fuck? Celestia stopped the spell as it ended. Slowly, she trotted over to Luna and nuzzled her neck. Luna blinked in a lazy fashion before getting and stretching. She stopped mid-stretch when she saw the pile of blankets. She cautiously walked over and unraveled the blankets. Unraveled. That's one word. She felt her heart melt at the sight a pale purple alicorn filly laid on her stomach. Her mane was the same as Wuna's when she was younger, and was a pale blue and faded into a golden orange. And her eyes seemed to shiver, pale sliver, but would change to a dark gold, then back to silver. Celestia joined her sister.
Tia,
She whispered.
thank you.
Alright, what's next? Chapter 5, Special, with 872 words. Oh shit, I forgot to do the other words. Fuck it. It's been 3 weeks, and the alicorn filly named Dusk, as said by Luna, has grown at a rapid pace. See, it is the Star Trek episode. Just fuck. Stopping just before, in normal pony's year, would have been 7 years old. Many times Luna would take Dusk to her garden and show her the constellations and the moon and name every flower there was. She was extremely happy. This filly was her own, not other ponies. Hers, despite the fact that they're Fluttershy's and big Bacokatz. What was the point of that? Just, hey, here's some magic bullshit, just shove it in your vagina. Every time, vagina's a funny word. Every time Dusk called her, now see it. I can't do it. Nope. Every time Dusk called her, Mama, she could feel her heart grow even more attached to the filly, her precious little star. And as it was, Luna started to repose the stars in the night sky again. After a week of this, and little Dusk, she was the happiest mare alive. And Luna would never, ever let any pony hurt her, as long as she lived. And that was going to be a long time. Luna was in the garden with Dusk, who was playing with a small green flower and nibbling on it. Luna arched her neck back to look at the stars, only to find them in a formation she didn't set them in. A daisy, if she had to guess. She tapped Dusk's horn with her own, signaling for her to look up. But when Dusk looked up, Luna saw her horn aglow with a gray aurora. She looked up again, only to see a heart made out of stars. Dusk giggled in complete glee, while Luna was puzzled. It took the average alicorn 9 years to learn the spells, and Dusk learned in seconds. A blinding glow radiated of Dusk, and on her flank was her cutie mark, made of 3 stars that splayed out, and behind the stars a crescent moon hid in the background. Dusk squeaked in complete glee, and hopped around Luna, her small wings giving her a small boost every time she jumped. She finally landed in front of her, and beamed up at her. No, that's just like Celestia's. Fuck it, it'll be taps on my desk. She asked, her words allowing a wave of joy to spell out and flood Luna in joy. She smiled at Dusk, who was looking at her expectantly.
Yes, my little star,
she crooned as she spread one of her enormous wings. Dusk scurried under it and snugged in her coat. Luna laughed as she tucked her wing around her and nuzzled her. Dusk nuzzled back before yawning and laying her head on Luna's foreleg. She yawned again. She whispered before her eyes slid shut and her breaths became deeper and steadied. Luna took a moment to cherish her little Dusk, sleeping, before she closed her own eyes, and when she reopened them, she was in the hallway between all of the sleeping ponies in Equestria. She trotted between doors until she reached Dusk's. She opened it and floated in her hoofs, landing on castle marble. She saw Dusk, but the sight was terrifying. Dusk was laughing, but she wasn't Dusk. Her form changed from a filly's to nightmare moon's. Her eyes shone a deep silver, her coat was a bluish gray, and her mane was floating like Luna's and Celestia's. At the base was a golden but faded into a dark navy blue, extremely close to black. But what scared Luna the most was her position. She had a menacing smile of wolf-like teeth. Discord laid under her hooves, washing her silver sandals and the blood diamonds that were embedded in them. Blood diamonds? Queen Chrysalis was buzzing around in a maid's outfit, hot, and carrying a feather duster, dusting everything she could reach. And King Sombra was sitting on a bed meant for a dog. I'm getting stupid. And King Sombra was sitting on a bed meant for a dog, wearing a dog collar with purple crystals embedded in it, and was eating a daisy salad out of a bowl with his name on it. Above her was a gold bird cage. In it was Celestia. She was wearing a ring on her horn and the same kind of ring on each of her wings, keeping her from doing anything. A large hamster cage was against the wall. Near Sombra inside was the main six in Cadence and Shining Armor. Each wearing the God damn it, I'm turning stupid. Each wearing the rings where they were needed. And Luna herself was on a cat bed playing with a ball of yarn. Each of them had a specific place where they would sleep, and all of them had one thing in common. All of them had a collar, each personalized to their personalities, but all of them were wearing one nonetheless. Luna was backpedaling away from the horrific dream, and galloped away, wings forgotten momentarily before barreling through the dream door and back into reality. Don't you have the powers to be like, hey, stop it. No, you stop it. You can do that. Luna nearly screamed when she entered her own body again. Her head snapped to the right to make sure Dusk was still there. She sighed in relief when Dusk snorted lightly in her sleep. Before suppressing a tremor, she was terrified, not only about what her daughter would turn into, more about what she could do if she got that power. That second, she took an oath to do everything in her power to never let that dream happen. Alright, yay, one last chapter, as long as one. Fuck me, where's my gun? Flash! Ah!
She did what?
Luna roared in her royal Canterlot voice, the noise bouncing off the walls and past the thick golden doors, causing several guards to jump or flinch. Celestia cringed at her sister's reaction.
Dusk might have put a guard into a, coma,
she said, her voice as calm as possible.
How in your name could that happen? She's still a filly.
Luna growled that she was really not in the mood for this. What? Celestia sighed.
The guard last century was apparently talking about how the world would be better off without a ticking time bomb as the princess of a time of day that nobody cares about.
Celestia waited for a reaction before continuing.
And somewhere in that rant, he mentioned Dusk with a few choice of words that were very rude.
That didn't feel good.
And Dusk, taking after her mother, was so well hidden in the shadows that she heard every word. And when she confronted him, he was intoxicated and abruptly struck her, leading her to crack 3 ribs, snap a pelvic bone, twist a hoof, and give him a minor concussion.
So she was justified. She had every right to... Bap. Down you go, Dick. I know this is a shit story, but justifications do exist in certain contexts. Why am I analyzing this? This is garbage. Luna was not sure to be proud or disappointed. But she did know that she would ask Dusk later about her side of the story. A bright green flame appeared in front of Celestia. A letter was afloat before she caught it with her magic, and opened the wrinkled paper. Celestia read the contents before banging her head upon the arm of the throne several times.
What is wrong, sister?
Luna asked, bewildered at her sister's actions.
The guard Dusk beat up was Twilight's cult friend.
Oh, yes, of course. Flashlight. Celestia answered the sentence slightly miffed, muffled by her face still laying on the arm of the throne.
And in 20 minutes, she will be teleporting herself and her friends over just to rant on about the conditions of the place and to yell at Dusk, who she thinks is a harmless filly with no morals and takes pleasure in hurting others for harmless jokes. And she doesn't know that she's your daughter, more like a rebel unicorn from my school.
Celestia's voice goes up and down. Luna joined Celestia in the royal banging her head on the arm of the throne. Dusk fluttered into the room, unnoticed by the royal sisters, who were still engaged in the royal banging her head on the arm of the throne. You're gonna get brain damage, don't do that. She slipped behind one of the pillars, seemingly fading into the shadows. Luna stopped banging her head along with her sister. What
am I going to do?
Celestia groaned. A idea popped into Luna's head.
What if they took Dusk?
She offered. Celestia looked at her as if she grew a third eye.
They think she's a horrible filly, right?
Tia nodded.
Them? Why don't we let them take her for 2 months or so to learn her how much of a sweet doll she is?
Tia smiled.
Luna, you're a genius!
So they waited for 15 minutes for Twilight and friends to arrive. A purple glow signaled their entrance, a flash, and Twilight was already approaching Celestia. Twilight's eyebrow twitched in annoyance. Luna already herded the other 5 out into the hallway. It's Rarity. Alright, extravagance. Luna, darling, have you heard about that dreadful filly Dusk? I heard she has been a pest to royal guards throughout the whole palace. Rarity asked, trying to make small chat. Oh, okay, apparently Applejack is the only one that's sensible. We'll give her a sensible voice. I don't think she's that bad. I heard that guy was drunk to no ends. Applejack replied, tipping her Stetson at Luna. Milady. And Rainbow Dash, of course. Let's see. Macho Man.
Yeah, right. I heard she beat that guard up with no mercy. That's not cool.
Rainbow Dash said as she floated in lazy circles above the group. And Pinky, fuck, I don't... Crackers. No, wait, Alright, I got it. I'll chew a sunflower seed. Barbecue! God. Fuck. Oh, I thought that was just salt. Shit. Alright, shit. That was disgusting. Pinky said, bouncing up and down. Fluttershy didn't say anything, just lay down and listened to the conversation. Luna could feel herself flexing her wings. She eyed the group. Oh, okay.
I know the merit of Dusk,
she said in a slow and careful voice. Every pony looked at her. They asking you. Alright, fuck. Alright. Okay, fuck, I already forgot their voices. I'm stupid. That's fucking... Really? They asked in unison. Luna nodded. Well, who is it, darling? Come on, spit it out. Rarity encouraged Luna to take... Rarity encouraged. Luna took a deep breath.
I am the mother,
she said. The room lapsed into uncomfortable silence before Rarity realized what she meant. Who's the lucky stallion? She asked, her blue eyes glued on her. Luna shook her head ruefully and explained the whole story. At the end, most of their jaws were open. A few flies were flying around Pinky's. What? Fluttershy was as red as a cherry. Excuse me, I have an announcement. Fluttershy said quietly. Every set of eyes were glued on her. Early this morning, I was on Scramble Acre helping with a body problem. Applejack nodded, confirming it. Is this normal, dude? She eyed Rainbow Dash for a few seconds. And me and Big Mac were forced to take shelter in a hollowed oak tree. And while we were there, Big Mac kissed me. Rarity let a girly scream escape her lips. Darling, why didn't you say something earlier? This is huge news. We must celebrate at once, she declared. Later, she corrected as Pinky took out her party cannon. She made a pouty face and put the cannon away into nothingness. Applejack smiled. Well, I'll be darned. I thought Big Mac fancied some mare. Good thing you choose well. Treat him good, Kay. As congratulations were being passed around, Luna walked up to the butter-colored Pegasus. She dipped her head and tapped... Wait a minute. So, I'm right then. She straight up just took their junk, their spunk, just poured them in there? Just poured them right in her veg? And then the stars were like... What the fuck is this story? My brain hurts. Alright. Fuck. Okay. As congratulations were being passed around, Luna walked up to the butter-colored Pegasus. She dipped her head and tapped her on the head with her horn twice. A pink spark was created each time she tapped. Fluttershy looked up, confused.
I gave you a soul, Jack, and he truly is what your heart desires.
Isn't that Cadence's job? She explained.
And the second tap gave you the confidence to move on with your relationship when your soul knows when.
Fluttershy flung herself at Luna, embracing her around the neck. She was muttering a over and over. This went on for 3 minutes before Luna rolled her neck, making the Pegasus flutter off. A small form jumped of the ceiling and onto Luna's back. Oh wait, yeah. Dusk chirped before sliding off her mother's wing onto the marble floor. The whole group looked flabbergasted. Wait, I'm confused. This is Dusk, the filly that nearly put a guard into a coma by herself. Rainbow Dash asked. So, that's Rainbow Dash's sentence? Alright. Alright, fuck. Oh yeah, Mashima.
This is Dusk, the filly that nearly put a guard into a coma by herself, yeah.
Rainbow Dash asked. It's not a question. Dusk said, her hoof held up, waiting to be shook. She added, one by one, the 5 mares shook her hoof. She said at Fluttershy. Rainbow Dash leaned closer to Rarity.
She's kind of small, don't you think?
She whispered. Does she? Rarity whispered back. Oh wait, whispered. Does she? Rarity whispered back. Don't be rude. Dusk approached Rainbow Dash. She asked. She was smiling, but her eyes held murder, and the calm tone she was using made her voice even scarier. Rainbow Dash gulped.
Nothing,
she stuttered, stumbling backwards blindly. Dusk roared, not hiding her anger anymore. It is funny, Dashy, isn't it? She asked. Wait. She asked, her horn glowing. She shot a beam of gray light at Rainbow Dash. She started shrinking until she was smaller than Dusk. She hissed. A fog was creeping through the cracks in the walls, swirling around her hooves. Luna lunged forward, grabbing Dusk with her hooves.
Dusk, she didn't mean it.
She crooned, petting Dusk behind the ears. Dusk stopped struggling and buried her face in Luna's chest, crying. The fog disappeared, and Rainbow Dash grew back to normal size. She muttered through Luna's chest, sniffling slowly. She lifted her head to look at Rainbow Dash. Dusk asked. Rainbow Dash nodded.
Yeah, I'll live. I can see how you injured Flash now.
She said, rubbing her head, then smiled at the filly. Wait, I'm getting confused.
And I did have that coming.
Dusk smiled, then glided off of Luna's hoof onto Rainbow Dash's shoulder. She chirped and glided before glided behind one of the pillars and promptly disappeared into the shadows. What was that about? Applejack asked. Luna sighed.
She has a Fluttershy's DNA in her, But instead of acting the way Fluttershy would, she took after me. She doesn't mean it. She just can't control her emotions, and she very sensitive about her size. That's why she beat up the guard he insulted her size and me. She is extremely protective of her friends.
Shit. Luna explained. Wait.
Well, Buck.
Rainbow Dash said. They sat together for a few more minutes in silence. Large golden doors creaked open, and apologetic-looking Twilight trotted out, calling for a group huddle with the girls. They stayed that way for 10 minutes. Twilight looked at Luna and said, oh, shit, okay. I actually gotta make a voice. I gotta try for this one. Fuck. Can't just make objects cling together. I got it.